Hey y'all, so I'm back in my favorite spot. I'm kind of chilling, sitting outside, enjoying the weather. It just rained for a little while. The water in the background. So I just went for a walk and just reflecting on some things, on life in general, and just how experiences can shape who you are. And so I'm just thinking about how grateful I am that the Lord helps us to do better. And I was thinking about how when I was dealing with the other people, occult, OCCULT, occult means hidden knowledge. And so cults are people that get together and join together based on their doctrine or belief, right? The doctrine, I believe, is the Bible. So when I grew up in church, and that's another thing, there's a difference between being a Christian and being a believer. Those words are used interchangeably, but they're not always the same thing. So that's why when Jesus came and he was dealing with a lot of people who, although they weren't Christians back then, they were Jews, but they were the religious leaders, considered, I won't say bad, but inferior or unworthy, right? But that's who Jesus came to. That's who Jesus came to inspire, to give hope to save, right? See, the thing about the religious leaders and those who are quick to judge others is that they forget that they too have their own sin. So there's memes and stuff that I see online when I'm online, that talk about how you can't judge me because I sin differently than you, right? Sin is basically being less than perfect, and we are all less than perfect in different ways. So just because you accomplish something or are doing better than me on one end doesn't necessarily mean that you're better than me, because there's something else that I can do that somebody else may not be able to. And so that's why it's important for us not to compete with each other. We're supposed to be helping each other, and those of us that are strong in one area that someone else is weak in or not so strong, we're supposed to help the other one along. And so the problem has come in where the matrix has Satan, the adversary, everything that is in opposition has put us against each other. Instead of people cooperating with each other and with nature and with God, it has put us in competition with everything around us and even with ourselves. So Jesus came to free us from that, because when you are in the rat race, when you are competing for something, it kind of takes over, it consumes you, and it alters the way that you make your choices. You're no longer doing things out of a place of love, not even necessarily for your own self or others. You start doing things to get a result, and when you do it that way, the result is never what you think is going to be. So that's where disappointment comes in, and people get stuck in their feelings because they didn't like what happened. But what we fail to understand is life is life, and regardless of how we life with it, right? So Jesus came to give us the blueprint and access to the source, who is our Father, through the power of the Holy Spirit, so that he can guide us in all truth. He can help us navigate the hidden knowledge. And so the problem that understanding is with the occult and New Age practices and different things like that, that seek to life through hidden knowledge without permission. It creates problems, because then that knowledge can be used to manipulate others. And that's why Jesus is important, and having a relationship with the Most High is important, because He keeps our heart in the correct posture. He keeps us humble. He helps us to see where we're not better than nobody else, right? Before, I used to be very self-righteous. I was a perfectionist, and I was very self-righteous because I felt like if I could put the effort in and do things well, everybody else can too. And honestly, everybody else can. But there are also other factors that I never used to consider, because I was blind to my own flaw. Well, not really. The flaws that I thought I had are not the actual flaws that matter. I'll say it that way. The flaws I was insecure about really don't matter anything. So what the Lord has helped me to do is to see myself from all different perspectives, and to understand how my behavior affects others, and then to in turn understand how others' behaviors are affecting me. And what He did is He showed us that we always have a choice. But also, because of the way our nature is formed, because of the fall in Eden, because of all the outside influences and factors, we don't always make the right choice. So, Jesus has sacrificed Himself to become a buffer. And He advocates for the Father because He lived on this earth, and He understands how hard and frustrating it is to love people genuinely and to continue to make good choices in a world that is set up to be opposed to you making good choices. And also how difficult it can be when you are doing your best to make those good choices, and those around you are trying to control the choices you make because they think they know better. Nobody is God. We are gods, which means we are made in the image of God. We have a lot of the capabilities that God has. But in order for us to unlock that and to use it in a way that is beneficial for both ourselves and those around us, we need a relationship with our Creator so that He can tell us how we were intended to function from the beginning. And when we do it that way, when we follow His instructions, then we can know that our opposition is already defeated. If we do what we're told, then there's no way we can fail, because that is what we have been created to do. So, I don't know if this is making sense. I'm just sitting here chilling, and these are the thoughts that are flowing right now. But I feel like there's so much sadness and darkness, frustration and confusion in the world. And the answer is so simple, but it's not easy. And I'm saying this from experience. It's not easy. You can know the right answer and have a desire to do the right thing and still make the wrong choice. And so Jesus came to free us from the condemnation of making those wrong choices. We're not free from the consequences always, but we're free from the condemnation, which means we can be convicted by the Holy Spirit to know that, okay, that was the wrong choice. And if we listen, He'll tell us what a better choice would have been. And if we pay attention, we can hear Him telling us before we make the wrong choice that that's the wrong choice. But he still gives us the free will to make that choice. And he pleads with us to choose life, to choose the right thing, because he is a loving Father who wants to protect us. So that is the love that he has for us, and that is why he tells us that if we love him, we'll obey his commandments. Because who wants a child to continue to do the wrong thing when you're telling them the right thing and they know what the right thing is to do? That is very frustrating for a parent. I know this from experience. But also, when I start to get upset, the Lord reminds me that that is also the relationship that we have with him. As frustrated as I can get with my children is just as frustrated as I'm sure the Lord is with us, and even more so. So, y'all, just be mindful, but also be grateful, because even in my imperfection, even in the times when I'm messing up and when I feel unworthy, the Lord still shows me how I am worthy of his love, how he gives it freely, how I am accepted, and he takes such good care of us, even when we are spitting in his face. That is how much the Lord loves us. But we should not test God, and we should not willfully do the things that we know are against his will for us. We should be seeking him so that we can know what is his good and perfect will for us, so that we can be prosperous as our soul prospers. The time we spend with him is important. If we spend the time that we spend on all the distractions with God, we could get so much more done in such short a time, and still have all that free time to do the stuff we want to do anyway. So let's just get to work. I'm talking to me too. Get it done and move on, because life's whether you life with it or not. So I'd rather life with it. That is what abundance is. That is opening your eyes to all of the goodness and all of the frustration that life has to offer, and you're able to navigate it with open eyes. And the thing that made me get on here was because I remembered something that was told to me in the occult time that I was dealing with, talking to other spirits and stuff like that through basically a medium and different things. And this is all stuff that the Lord very strongly condemns. That is stuff he condemns and that he doesn't like, because that is getting access to hidden knowledge without permission and is being used in the wrong way. So I have repented of that, and the Lord delivered me from that. But I'm also retaining, he's bringing certain things back to my remembrance, because what he's showing me is that they have true knowledge, a good bit of it. The problem is that it's being perverted, is being used in the wrong way. It's being used to control people, and we were never meant to control people. That is God's job, and even he does not do that. He gives us free will. He, like Satan, can influence us one way or the other, but it's still our choice to make. So it's really all about our perspective on how we see the things that happen, because again, life is life. And just even if we go from a scientific perspective of the universe just happening from a big bang and expanding, that means that all these molecules and atoms and stardust and everything is just bumping against each other, and stuff is happening, like sparks are created, reactions are happening. That's basically what life is from a scientific perspective, but it's still explained through the Lord in the Bible, and he gives us the answer if we take the time to seek him, so that he can unravel the truth, the hidden truth, through him, because he's the one that made it all. Y'all don't understand. That's like going to a bootleg mechanic to fix something that the manufacturer only knows how to fix properly. So I don't know, I'm just rambling at this point. But, you know, I feel like from young, that's why I was a perfectionist, because I don't know what happened in so-called previous lives, or previous lives are real, or whatever. But there's something in me that is driving me to do the right thing. Like, almost at all costs, because something is coming, something is not right. Like this from young, that's why I have a lot of the traumatic feelings and different things, and why I stopped speaking and dealing with people, because when you can see things about to happen and you try to warn people and nobody wants to listen, that can drive you crazy. And again, I can only imagine how God feels, because he is a being. He has feelings. And that's why all this stuff is happening, because he created us out of love, and we're destroying each other and all of his creation. And he's pleading with us to come and talk to him so that he can show us how to do it the right way. And nobody wants to speak to him, but we want to blame him for everything that's going wrong. Do y'all hear how insane that sounds? But I deal with this on a regular basis with my children. So I can understand how that feels from both perspectives. And every time I really start to get in my feelings, that's all the Lord shows me. Look, you mad about that, but look what you did. So let's have some compassion. That's what it is. It's compassion. He's showing me the compassion that he has for me, so that I can have compassion for the people around me. That is the love of Jesus. And then he shows me how I can do it a better way and get better results, so I ain't got to be in my feelings. That's the power of the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit gives us the willingness to do that. And then we just have to make a choice whether to choose our flesh or the Spirit. And so a lot of times that's harder than it seems like it should be. Simple, but it's not easy. So I love y'all. I'm going to spend some more time with the Lord. I feel like I got everything out that time. But yeah, just enjoy. Enjoy your Sabbath. Enjoy life. Even in the rough, chaotic times, there's always something that's good. Look for it. Find reasons to be grateful. Be productive. Love the Lord. Love each other. Love yourself. And the Most High loves you more.